ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Tuesday, July 23rd. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. We're going to get you caught up in everything that Coach Huff said today. It is Sun Belt Conference Media Days. Comments from the head coach earlier this afternoon. We'll get his thoughts on everything in just a few minutes. Also, we'll get your text in this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Busy day today. We got Heard That in action tonight, taking on La Familia in a TBT. Trip to the quarterfinals on the line tonight, and of course, you win the Lexington Regional. Heard That, the favorite, the 1 seed, La Familia, the UK alumni team, the 2 seed. They defeated the North 81-64. And, of course, Heard That came back, scored 14 unanswered to beat War Ready, the Auburn team, 63-59. It was a heck of a run. If you didn't get a chance to watch that game, that was one of the best endings I've seen in a long time for a TBT game. With the Elam ending, because usually you would just run the clock out. You've got a lead like that, you just run the clock out. And you're trying to foul, and you're trying to send the other team to the line. No, what happened was because you didn't have a clock to contend with, you clamped down, you had a target score, and the defense just clamped down, and that 14-point comeback was amazing. 14-0. Finished it with the Elam ending. It should be fun tonight. So that game's coming up 9 o'clock tonight. That's going to be on FS1, not 2, FS1. So it should be a fun one. Other action from the TBT in the Pittsburgh Regional yesterday, a Zoo Crew got the best of West Virginia, 91-79. So the alumni team from West Virginia eliminated by the Pitt alumni team. I bet you if James Long was the coach, now the head coach at UC, if he was the coach, man, they might have got past Zoo Crew. We'll never know now. Of course, James Long, friend of the program. Dayton Regional, Carmen's crew, the Ohio State team, beat the Dayton alumni team, Red Scare, 71-60. So Carmen's crew continues on. I thought that the Dayton team would go far. I actually thought Red Scare would go a little bit further. But we care about one thing, and that's Heard That coming up tonight. Trip to the quarterfinals on the line. They win in spectacular fashion. They always have some interesting drama about how they win. Can that magic continue? I mean, this is a TBT team that has experience. 10-4 overall. Heard That, 10-4 overall in the TBT. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully we're talking about a Heard That victory tomorrow. As I mentioned, it's a busy day. We've got baseball action for you coming up tonight. Last night, the Pirates got the win over the Cardinals 2-1. Game 2 of that series coming up tonight, 6:15 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Reds got the best of the Braves 4-1 yesterday. Game 2 is coming up tonight, 7:20 from Atlanta. And Detroit got the win over Cleveland 8-2. I'm sure Spencer Adkins, world-famous meteorologist from Channel 13, is happy about that one. Game 2 coming up tonight, 6:40. That is in Cleveland. Let's start lining up your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got plenty coming up tonight from the Sun Belt Conference Media Days. We'll hear a little bit from Coach Huff, get his thoughts on the upcoming season. Looking forward to hearing how the Herd is getting better and what his thoughts are on the upcoming season in the Sun Belt. Also, there's a lot to get into with the Appalachian League because tonight's the All-Star game in Johnson City, Tennessee. Coldcats have 5 players on the roster. Pretty good, huh? For a team that's 19-22 and 5th in the East Division, that's pretty good. You get 5, 3 of them are pitchers. They need more hitting. They desperately need more hitting, but they got pitching. So the Coldcats are in action tomorrow through Saturday. It's the final home series. It's against Danville. It's a team that if the Cold Cats could win the series, could make things interesting with those standings. And, of course, they've got a few more games to go. There is an outside shot that they could catch up, but they're going to have to hope that Burlington falls apart. So the sock puppets are going to have to fall apart, and they're going to have to, I think they're going to have to win out if they even have a legitimate shot at getting one of those top two spots. Top two spots get you into the playoff. The two best East Division teams will face off. The two best West Division teams will face off. The winner of both those divisions will face off for the championship. So busy night tonight. If you are interested, the All-Star game, that's going to be available over at the Appalachian League website. They stream all those games. You can head over to the Tri-State Cold Cats website and link over there. But I know you want to get into football. Let's do that. We've got Coach Huff's comments. We got a couple other comments as well. Logan Osborne included in that. They were at Sunbelt Media Days earlier. They just got off the stage maybe an hour or so ago. They switched their time. There were some transportation problems with the Thundering Herd. They had some travel issues. It was funny because, Marshall's got that aviation school, right? So you would think that Marshall would have easy access to like a helicopter or a plane, something like that. But apparently there was some fun because Sean Clark made some reference to his travel program problems and mentioned the aviation school. I think there was even a photo of a Marshall helicopter photoshopped with App State colors. That was sent to Huff by Sean Clark. That's at least what Luke Creasy is telling us today, that those two are having a little fun with each other. So you would think that a school with an aviation school, there wouldn't be travel problems, right? You would think. Just charter the Herd flight. Can you do that? We got one of those, right? We have a charter. I mean, what do we have here? We have Brad Smith 1. I mean, what would you call that? Would that be John Marshall 1? Would that be Herd 1? What would that be? It's like the plane for the president. You got the Air Force 1, you got Marine 1. Would that be Herd 1 for Coach Huff? What would that be? We got to work on that, Coach has got to travel. We got to make sure that his flights are better than what we got going on here. Come on. Helicopter him down if we have to. Make that happen. We're going to hear from Coach Huff when we continue. And, of course, we'll get your text in. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. A school with an aviation program and travel problems for the head coach of your football team. Who would have thunk it? More coming up on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can easily find coverage options that fit your budget. If only it was that easy to name your baby.
How about Jaden?
Nope.
Okay. Michael?
Went to middle school with a glue-eating Michael.
Sebastian?
Dated one in college.
How about Damien?
Vampire name.
All right. Greg?
Not feeling it.
Okay. No worries. Jeffrey?
Oh, love that one.
Wait, really?
No.
Find coverage options that fit your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Tuesday edition, The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Today, the start of Sunbelt Media Days. Yesterday, we got the preseason coaches poll. Just to give you a refresher, in the East Division, Marshall picked 5th. That is the predicted order of finish, 5th for the Thundering Herd. App State was the number 1 team, followed by James Madison, Coastal Carolina, and then Georgia Southern. So those two could flip-flop. 1 point separates them. Georgia Southern, Marshall, 4-5. So that's where I think Marshall might be right now. A 4-5 type team in the predicted order of finish. Old Dominion, 6th, and Georgia State dead last in the East Division. App State also got 12 first-place votes. James Madison got 2. Now in the West Division, Texas State leads the way with 92 points and 9 first-place votes, followed by Troy at number 2, Louisiana at 3, Arkansas State at 4, South Alabama at 5, Southern Miss at 6, and then ULM at 7. So that's the predicted order of finish from the coaches poll, East Division and West Division. Only one Marshall representative on any Sunbelt preseason team, and that was Logan Osborne. He earned a spot on the All Sunbelt preseason second team. So one player getting a nod from the Sunbelt preseason accolades. A lot of work to do, right? A lot of work to do as far as getting recognition for these players. Again, this is preseason. This is just stuff we talk about. It doesn't mean anything. It's an opportunity for you to gauge where you're at. So, okay, the coaches think, top to bottom, that App State's going to be the best team and that Marshall's going to be somewhere in the middle of the pack, maybe 4th, maybe 5th. I don't put too much stock into that, but it's what Marshall has to do to maybe get a little bit more respect. I don't know. Winning helps. Winning always helps. Winning consistently helps. So those are the things that you look at preseason. Okay, that's where the Herd's at. Not expected to finish high, not dead last. Got some room to grow. Got some work to do. Got to close the gap, to quote Coach Huff. Speaking of Coach Huff, he was available for the media earlier today at the Sunbelt Media Days. And the one thing that he talked about we want to start with is he talked about how this year's team is the best team because it's the most guys that have actually bought into the system.
Honestly, I feel like this is our best team. And when I say best team, that just doesn't mean we have best players and their athletic ability, but we have the most amount of guys in our program. When we say best, it's the guys who embody our culture, our community, our university, and our team. And we have more guys that embody that. And obviously, they all are some good players as well. Obviously, having the best team doesn't equal execution. We still got to go out and play really well on Saturday afternoons. And that's the goal.
So from his definition of best team, this is Marshall's best team. When we gauge what a best team looks like, though, we kind of gauge it with wins and losses. That's how we gauge it. If we look at all the other things that he's talking about, that's a different metric. He's talking about, hey, these guys have bought in. The most players have bought in. They're all part of our culture. I mean, this is year 4 for Coach Huff. He should have, at this point, everybody bought in for the most part. Everyone should be bought in. The new guys are coming in. They're going to learn the system. They should be bought in. They picked Marshall. They're coming to Marshall either through being recruited out of high school or coming in as a transfer. They should be in the system, ready to go. Everybody should be bought in. So, best team, because these guys have bought in. Now, recruiting. That's something that gets talked about a lot because Coach Huff, known as a recruiter. That was the reputation. He's a recruiter. And he talked about the process. He talked about the mentality of how he went about recruiting. There are 45 new players on this roster.
We added 45 new players, 31 transfer students, 14 high school students, with the focus on being more consistently competitive with the top teams in this country or in this conference. Obviously, this is the world we live in. We were more intentional about the transfers we took. We were more intentional about the high school players we took, exactly where they fit, exactly what can they provide us, exactly what are they able to do as far as a growth and development standpoint.
So a little bit more of a deliberate approach. As you mentioned, 45 new players. Logan Osborne, he talked about how the most difficult part of adapting to that high roster turnover is trying to get the players to buy into that system.
I think the biggest challenge to assimilating them to the program is just getting them up to date with your culture, having them buy in. I think that's the biggest problematic part of that. It's not going to be an overnight thing. You got to take it day by day. You got to go through some ups and downs with those guys and really, truly tell them what Marshall is, tell them what we're about, and why we do the things that we do.
So it's coming back to culture. We're in year 4 now. The culture should be established at this point. The culture should be plug and play. Everyone that's here, that's on the roster, that's been around, should know what the culture is. The new players coming in, they're going to have to learn what the culture is. I think it's easier with the high school kids because they haven't been exposed to any other college atmosphere, any other college culture. They know their cultures, but they're coming into a new situation. The transfer players, of course, they've been exposed to previous schools, previous cultures. You're going to have to break some of their habits. This is how we do it here at Marshall. Not, okay, your way's better. Now you're here at Marshall. We're not saying your way was better, but this is how we do it at Marshall. So with the transfer portal, that's always going to be, in my mind, an issue, and that's going to have to be a issue that you continuously work on. You have to build that culture. I know, and that's an easy word to throw around, culture. What is that? We throw that around. Marshall's got a good culture. Well, what does that mean exactly? Good culture. I mean, is it the work ethic that you're trying to install? Is it how the players respond to coaching? All of that. Everybody's got culture. That's a word we throw around a lot. A lot of it's got to do with tradition, though. Because tradition, according to Coach Huff, makes it easier to recruit at Marshall. And with the transfer portal, he's talking about in this next cut, the key to success in recruiting is having to be flexible.
Well, I think, the beauty of having a tradition is that it's been done before. And I think what we've been able to do because of our tradition, our brand, we've been able to be a lot more flexible with who and how we recruit. So we still recruit junior college. That still is a possibility for us. We still recruit the high school ranks. We still recruit the transfer portal. I think what it does is it's easier to sell to a young man, a school like Marshall because of the history and tradition. And then you combine that with the relationship piece, which allows us to develop really good relationships in a short period of time when you're talking in this portal deal. So we're going to continue to be active. We're going to continue to have a plan every year to take a certain amount of high school players, a certain amount of transfer pro players, and then obviously you got to go fix your roster when you can. I do believe that as we continue to create our revenue model, sharing model, and our NIL platform, retention will be more the focus than necessarily going out and trying to bring more people in. Until we get to that level, we're going to have to continue to be, flexible on all sides.
That's Coach Huff talking about the tradition. Now, how much of that really plays into when a kid buys into Marshall University, the tradition? Because we can make arguments for Marshall's tradition, and we can make arguments against Marshall right now. And I'm not going to prosecute that fully, but we're looking at a Marshall team that finished 6-7 last season. The season before that, 9-4. And the season before that, under Coach Huff, 7-6. Okay, so a winning season in 21, a winning season in 22. Okay, a not-so-winning season in 23. And 2 of the last 3 years under Coach Huff, you've lost your bowl game. And Marshall, 4 of the last 5 games in bowls have been losses. So the recent traditions, they're still there. The culture, but the history, we can play against it and we can play for it. I mean, you can recruit to, okay, hey, this is the school that gave you Randy Moss, and that will carry you some weight. Hey, Randy Moss played here. As we get further from Chad Pennington, how much weight does that carry? College kids have heard of Randy Moss. That's one thing. I mean, he's Randy Moss. He still is, to this day, very visible. And so I know he's got some challenges. He's got a lot of uphill battles. And that's why I think that this is going to be a make or break season for him, because this is year 4 of his contract. This is an opportunity for him to show, okay, we have put it together and we're going to show what we've been working towards. You're going to have to, at this point, show what you've been working towards. And I think he's made some changes to highlight that. There have been changes with the offensive and defensive staffs. Going to run a different system now, and that's going to play into the quarterback battle. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. That's a big question. Who's the quarterback going to be? Nobody knows. I don't think Coach Huff knows right now. If you take him at his word, nobody knows who the quarterback's going to be. It's going to eventually play itself out because there's a new system. You're trying to install the new system. You're trying to learn it, and then you got to figure out who can run the system the best, who gives us the best tool set, who gives us the best ability in this system to win. And that's where we're going to start when we continue. Also, we'll get your text in this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. What have you heard from Coach Huff so far that you like? What have you not heard from Coach Huff that you're waiting for? I'm sure quarterback is one of those issues. We'll get into that when we continue. And your text on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Have you had your septic tank service lately? For a free-flowing system, it's vital to get your septic tank serviced every 3 to 5 years. Call One Way Septic today, 304-429-5218. That's 304-429-5218. Online at onewayseptic.com. One Way Septic offers septic services in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio, both residential and commercial services. Septic tank pumping, old system repairs, grease trap cleaning. There's only one way for top-notch service. It's One Way Septic, 304-429-5218.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can easily find coverage options that fit your budget. If only it was that easy to name your baby.
How about Jaden?
Nope.
Okay. Michael?
Went to middle school with a glue-eating Michael.
Sebastian?
Dated one in college.
How about Damien?
Vampire name.
All right. Greg?
Not feeling it.
Okay. No worries. Jeffrey?
Oh, love that one.
Wait, really?
No.
Find coverage options that fit your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Hey, it's Lex and Terry, K&B Pest Control, locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state.
Man, these guys are great. They do residential and commercial, indoor, outdoor, free estimates. These guys are the best, I'm telling you.
This is when the critters come out. High customer ratings, satisfaction guaranteed, large fleet, crew, meaning same-day appointments, and my quick service.
All you got to do is pick up your phone and call Patrick, the owner. Okay, that's what you got to do. Or Becca. They're standing by to take care of you guys. It's knbpestcontrol.com online. And give them a call, man. They got a great Facebook page. Go ahead and like it. They got a phone number. We'll give you that. Why not? It's free. 304-523-4281.
Or go to knbpestcontrol.com. They will tell you what everything looks like, what you're looking for, if you're getting a pest problem, and get on top of it. They're the best. Make sure you call Patrick once again, who is very passionate about his pest control, or Becca. K&B Pest Control. They'll kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
Let the good times roll. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West Ninth Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua's Sauvignon Blanc. This Friday, it's Xfinity High-Speed Internet Night with William Matheny and Ginger Wicks. Music starts at 7 on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kid Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for Friday, August 2nd, when 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity High-Speed Internet, One Way Septic and Rent-A-Can, and Kendrick Communications. You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Welcome back. It's our Tuesday edition. Paul Swann, your host here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Today is Sun Belt Conference Media Days. Kicked off with the East teams. The Thundering Herd predicted to finish 5th overall in the East Division. App State predicted to be the East Division champion, while Texas State is predicted to be the West Division champion. If that holds, those two teams will meet for the Sun Belt Championship. Our text line is open this hour. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've been talking a little bit about what Coach Huff said earlier today during his media appearance at Sun Belt Media Days. We talked a little bit about how he thought this was the best team because these guys have bought into the system. There's 45 new players on the roster. Talked a little bit about recruiting, how the tradition at Marshall University impacts it, makes it actually easier to recruit. And Coach Huff is right. There's a lot going on positive about the Thundering Herd. Of course, we can't flip that. There's positive and negatives going on with Marshall right now. But when you're recruiting, yeah, you could possibly flip those negatives and turn them into positives. Like, look, hey, we had a 6-7 season. That means you got an opportunity to come in and play right away. And usually when you work in the transfer portal, that's sort of the pitch. You could probably play right away if you're good enough. So, quarterback situation. What's the situation for the Thundering Herd? Who's going to be the quarterback? Well, if you go by EA Sports College Football 25, it's Cole Pennington. He's the guy. If you go by the online roster, they made a decision. They're starting Cole Pennington. Coach isn't going to be making the decisions based off the video game, but he did talk about the decision to wait until fall camp to determine who will the starting quarterback be, and he goes through his thought process behind that decision.
Yeah, so when we hired Coach Daggy, we made a decision back in January that we were going to let the quarterback battle go through fall camp. And here's why. Okay, so we have two quarterbacks, Cole Pennington, Braylon Braxton, Colin Parachek, who have ability. Okay, they all have game experience. None of them have played in this system. Okay, so the common denominator is they've all played in the game. Right. The uncommon denominators, none of them have played in this system. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to take the January period, the winter period, and teach the installs and base information. We wanted to let them go into spring ball and actually apply those, tools and fundamentals. Then we wanted to take the summer and make corrections off of spring ball. A lot of times what happens, you go through spring ball, he's the quarterback, you move on, and you don't really get a chance to go back and correct those things because you have banked reps. So we wanted to go through the summer, make the corrections from spring ball. And now when we enter fall camp, it's a true duel it out. Now you've had an opportunity to learn the system. You've had an opportunity to run the system. You've had an opportunity to correct your issues from running it in the spring, and now we get to duel it out. I would say I'm sure we'll know by the middle of August, but Coach Deggy in his mind wanted to give these guys a chance, because what happens sometimes is you say, hey, he's the starter or he's the starter, and all of a sudden now you start to change the offense to fit that quarterback. Well, we're not at that point yet, because we still got receivers, O-linemen, tight ends, running backs who still need to install the system as a base system. So this allows us to stay very consistent with our install, to stay very consistent with our evaluation of the quarterbacks and the other players, and not say, okay, well, we're going to start to cater this. Well, Cole's the guy and we're starting to cater it to Cole, or Braylon's the guy and we're starting to cater it to Braylon. We're going to allow it to be installed the right way. So now when we get into camp, we can see who can do what.
My takeaway from that, Cole or Braylon, that might be the duel. That's my takeaway. Parachek, he might be the third guy. That was just my initial impression there. I'm not putting words in Coach's mouth. I'm just reading what I heard, and I'm thinking it's going to be Cole versus Braylon. Possibility I'm wrong. May the best man win, but they're going to duel it out. So you're going to have a 3-quarterback race. They're going to have a 2-quarterback race. Is it going to be Cole? Is it going to be Braylon? Is it going to be Parachek? I'm interested. I like Parachek. I liked him. I like what I saw in the spring game. Now, is that going to carry over into fall camp? I don't know. But I liked him. I'm not anointing him the starter, but I liked what I saw from him. And maybe that's the best thing. You should have a battle in fall camp to see who's going to get the nod and who's going to be the starting quarterback. I think you can get away with it because it's a new system for everybody. This is a new install. You're not coming back from a season where you ran the offense and it hasn't changed, but maybe a different install here or there. This is completely new. So that's solid logic for me. But my takeaway a little bit from that is maybe it's Cole or maybe it's Braylon. That might be the duel there. I don't know if Parachek is going to be the odd man out in that battle. But I did like what I saw from him at the spring game. I don't know if that's going to carry over into fall ball. That's best I can give you right there with that quote. Now, just a few other things. I want to skip a little bit, just giving the booth the heads up. I'm going to skip just for a second. I want to talk about Coach Huff and his comments about how the talent gap is improving and how that benefits the team depth. He talked about how the talent is there and that the biggest task is the ability to channel that talent into success on the football field. Also talked about how this year's team is full of players that are willing to put the work in.
Yeah, I think, when that's a good example. So you talk about, I tell the guys all the time, we are more than capable. We have the ability, we have the players. I think our talent gap is closer, meaning there's not the highs and lows at positions. There's not the Rasheen Ali and then the high school player. Obviously, those guys are great players. It's the Owen Porters and then, maybe a guy who hasn't had the playing experience. Our talent gap is closer, right? So the 1 and the 2 are a lot closer. That's going to make us a lot more competitive. That makes us have a lot more depth. The part that you talk about as far as ability and talent, the talent is there. The ability for us as coaches, players, and team to channel that talent is what we got to be able to do. We got to be able to channel that into execution on Saturdays. Part of that is through practice and reps. Part of that is through understanding that we're playing for each other, not with each other, getting to know each other, getting connected, feeling accountable to the guy to your right and to your left. Coaches taking accountability and helping direct that ability or that talent in each player. The reason I think this is our best team is because we have more guys who are willing to invest the time, who are willing to invest the effort in channeling that ability. Don't get me wrong. You still got to get a guy on the ground. You still got to get the ball across the goal line. But a lot of what I've seen this summer is a lot more willingness to do that, a lot more willing, and not just necessarily coach saying go out and do this or go do this, but a lot more willingness to create value for yourself from a holistic perspective on and off the field.
Comments from Coach Huff earlier today, Sun Belt Conference Media Days. We'll hear more from him, and we're going to hear a little bit from Logan Osborne when we continue. And we're going to get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More from Sunbelt Conference Media Days when we continue on this edition of The Drive in ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money in outdoor storage solutions now at Menards. Suncast sheds are perfect for storing toys, long-handled tools, and yard equipment. These sheds feature low-maintenance construction, easy assembly, and include a 10-year warranty. Save big money on Suncast storage sheds at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Did you know September 11th is a National Day of Service? We invite you to be kind with Volunteer West Virginia, because every mountaineer has the power to make a difference. Join in our statewide Day of Service, whether it's lending a hand or spreading kindness. In West Virginia, every mountaineer is a volunteer. Visit volunteer.wv.gov to find a volunteer opportunity near you. Brought to you by Volunteer West Virginia, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Mom, it's school shopping time.
On it. Ooh, Target has select supplies like crayons and glue sticks for 25 cents, plus markers for 50 cents.
Next, my new Rockstar vibe means new clothes.
Ooh, totally. These graphic tees are $6 and made to last.
And a strawberry lunch bag to match my sweet personality.
Got it, and it's only $5. Let's get your favorite Good and Gather snacks. They're now at a new lower price.
Best team ever.
When it comes to low prices, Target has your back to school.
Let the good times roll. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West 9th Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua Sauvignon Blanc. This Friday, it's Xfinity High-Speed Internet Night with William Matheny and Ginger Wicks. Music starts at 7 on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for Friday, August 2nd, when 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity High-Speed Internet, One Way Septic and Rent-A-Can, and Kendrick Communications.
Coal Cats Baseball, your last chances this week, Wednesday through Saturday. Saturday night, we say thanks and farewell with first pitch baseball being skydived into Jack Cook Field from Robert Newland Air Park's West Virginia Skydivers. A post-game party with the band Madhouse during the Orbit's Record Shop post-game concert series presented by the 1861 Public House and Kerber Beer Company. Your chance to say thank you for the team for a great season. Over 20,000 fans have watched great baseball this season. Dollar Dog Night Wednesday, $2 draft Thursday, skydiving, and a team farewell party Saturday with a team photo.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Assured Partners in Huntington, AssuredPartners.com, John Sang Ford, 195 Upper River Road in Gallipolis, JohnSang.com, Ashworth Heating and Cooling. Call or text us at 304-743-8896 or visit ashworthcool.com.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
It's our final segment for this edition of The Drive. How you guys doing out there? Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll have more from Coach Huff and his comments from Sunbelt Media Days in just a moment. A couple of items that we need to get into quickly for the Thundering Herd. Let's start with football. And we don't know too much. we'll find out more about him as it goes on. I mean, he's a local kid, so we'll find out stuff about him quickly. But I'm not that familiar with Drake Lanham, but he is now a commit, according to his social media post, to the Thundering Herd for the class of 2025. He is a Hurricane High School product. He is regarded as a 2-star recruit. The only Division I offer for him came from Marshall. So we'll get a little bit more on him as the weeks progress. And again, till Coach Huff puts the Steph Curry out there, you know what I'm talking about. You know how he is on social media. Herd just got bigger. Steph Curry, the GIF. I wonder if he's going to add some Olympics GIFs once those are out there. Hey, that's coming up this week. I'm looking forward to it. That's the one thing I do look forward to. I do love the Winter Olympics, but Summer Olympics, USA basketball, definitely going to be watching a lot of those games. Going to be watching a lot of what happens in the swimming pool, because that's a sport that the United States loves to dominate in. It's going to be fun. Olympics are coming up. That's, it's 2 weeks worth from Paris. Hopefully we can get a gold medal, at least from the hopefully USA dominates this thing. I'm not going to lie. There'll be some sports where they won't, but just as long as the United States wins the medal count, I'm good. And brings home the basketball gold. It's a failed Summer Olympics if Team USA doesn't bring home the gold medal in basketball. It's failed. Just why did we do it? Why'd we do that? I don't care if the gap has closed. That's like Team USA's sport. That's the home sport. USA should never lose in basketball. I'm sorry. I know that is not a good take, but it is my hot take for the day. It is, after all, and we don't do it very as often as we should. It is a Hot Take Tuesday. That is my hot take for Tuesday. Some other recruiting news. Women's soccer. Rafa continues to add. He's just like an adding machine over there right now. Abigail Gerritsen. She is a midfielder. She's a sophomore transfer from Southern Illinois University. She previously played 7 matches, reached double figures in minutes in 6 of 7 appearances, totaled 133 minutes. So some new additions to the Thundering Herd. So that's what's happening for Marshall. One other item to talk about. We didn't get a chance to really talk about it yesterday, but J.F. Aber qualified for the 2024 U.S. Amateur with he tied for 9th at the Ohio State University Scarlet course. So he's a graduate transfer from Wittenberg University. He's a 2-time All-American, 2024 North Coast Atlantic Conference Player of the Year. And so there you go. U.S. Amateur coming up 12th through the 18th of August. We'll try to get Coach Grobe on sometime next week, and hopefully we can get JF on as well, and we can talk a little bit to him about getting ready for, which is really one of the biggest events in his career at this point, the U.S. Amateur. Definitely a big deal for him. Coach Huff speaking with the media earlier today, and he brought a couple of players along with him. Of course, Logan Osborne, your second-team preseason selection, should be a first-teamer, but we're not going to argue that today. And one of the questions that was presented to Logan was just about the evolution. You go from playing in Conference USA, because he's old man now. He's the old guy. So he talked about the evolution from playing in Conference USA to the Sun Belt and how the Sun Belt Conference is growing into one of the top G5 conferences.
It's definitely grown over the years. I would say that. I think it was a huge shock because first year I started, it was in Conference USA, and switching from Conference USA to Sun Belt schools. I mean, it felt like you're still at like a Power 5, Power 4 school. You know, you go to like when the one that comes to my mind is Georgia Southern. You know, you go to that stadium, it looks like a little SEC stadium, and the atmosphere, the fans, they're so bought in, and you know, I don't think you see that with a lot of other G5 conferences in this league. You know, I think the Sun Belt is going to continue to grow, continue to build its brand through college football, especially now with the playoff being to 12 teams. It's a kind of a reality that Sun Belt teams can definitely join that.
So the Sun Belt obviously is better than Conference USA. At least that's our take. That's our stance. Couldn't wait to get out of Conference USA. As fans, as a media point of view, Sunbelt was fine. Sunbelt was fine. It's a lot better than Conference USA, but the Sunbelt's fine. I like it. A lot of good people there. From my standpoint, my point of view, it is an upgrade from Conference USA. Conference USA, not what it's spread out. That's the problem with this league. It's so spread out. At least the Sun Belt, there's a more cohesiveness. I don't know the West Division as well as far as the media folks. I know the East Division a lot better. It works. Same thing as far as the rivalries are concerned and the fan support, because you know these teams better. You know App State. You know Georgia Southern. You know James. You're getting to know Coastal Carolina. You're getting to know all of these teams a lot better. And Coach Huff talked about that. Not my job in the media's point of view, but he did talk about how the regional rivalries benefit the conference and how the Sun Belt Conference made the right decision in selecting the schools for the conference and how that has improved fan support in the conference.
And I think it's just a testament to Commissioner Gill and the leadership. They were very intentional when selecting what teams to bring into the conference. There were a lot of teams out there that they could have brought in, but very intentional with the regional rivalries in place in mind. And when you have that, the regional rivalries, the regional respect, what you get is, we go to, App State, we take a bunch of fans with us. They come to us, they take a bunch of fans with them. When you're trying to play all the way across the country just to appease a media deal from a TV perspective, you lose some of that. I get it. There's a balance between the two. But when you keep the regional rivalries intact, you allow some of the old rivalries, some of the old memories that to come up. You got to think of it. Fans, for the most part, are done playing the game. But they have memories of how the game may have affected their lives. So I think it's a testament to the Sun Belt and their administration of how they selected who got in. And then I think it's a testament to the fans. It just means more in the South. It really does. And I think and they show that on Saturday afternoons in our Sun Belt stadiums.
He's right about that. It does mean more in the South, football in the South. It's a college football tradition. The South is pretty much the best place for college football. And, of course, the Thundering Herd, being in the Sun Belt, gets that opportunity to enjoy and experience that Southern hospitality, if you want to put it that way. Michael Green was on stage with Coach Huff, along with Logan Osborne, and he talked about how every team is a rival. When the rivalry question came up to him, he mentioned, look, every team's a rival due to the team's mentality against each and every opponent.
Forward into playing the team, and I think every team is our rival. Well, from being in the Sun Belt for a year, I think Marshall has a rival every week. I can't just say there's just one team that we just feel like is our actual rival game. I feel like each week we're looking forward into playing the team, and I think every team is our rival.
So he thinks every team's a rival. What about Logan Osborne? Old man, right? That's my narrative. He's the old man now. He says it's impossible. I disagree. It's possible. I can do that for you, Logan. But for him, it's impossible to pinpoint a best rival due to the geographic layout of the Sun Belt Conference and the fans' ability to travel to games. And he talks about how the rivalries have developed with the conference and programs over time.
You can't just narrow it down to one team, because I'm pretty sure every team has beef with each other on the east side. There's such what Coach Huff said, just how close geographically they are, just fans being able to travel and stuff. You can't really pinpoint the one. I mean, App State and Coastal have been some good games in the recent times. But I think those rivalries are going to continue to grow over the years as this conference develops even more and as our programs develop.
I can rank them for you, Logan. Would you like me to do that? I'll rank them for you. All right, in order. This is the Paul Swann ranking. East Division only, West Division is excluded from this. We're going to rank App State as the number one team. That's the number one rival. That's going to be a controversial one, because my number two is James Madison. We're going to rank them at number 2. A strong 3, and that could contend any year for one of those 2 top spots, would be Georgia Southern. App State 1, James Madison 2, Georgia Southern 3. Who's 4? Well, I'll give that to Coastal Carolina. Coastal gets my 4 nod. At number 5, I'm going to give it to Old Dominion, only because a little bit more familiarity with Old Dominion than Georgia State, which gets my number 6. So in order from team you hate the most to the team you don't hate the most, but you still hate, App State, James Madison, Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina, Old Dominion, and Georgia State. It's a fun hate. It's not a mean hate, it's a fun hate. But yeah, I can pinpoint those for you, Logan. Talk to me a little bit about that. Best rivalries? What do you think? Did I get it right? I say I got it right. You might differ with me, but I say I got it right. App 1, James Madison 2. Actually, whatever team is in front of the herd that week, that's the number 1 team. Ultimately, one game at a time, we're looking to go 1-0, you know, all of that coach speak. Couple other items from Media Day. We'll get into this one quickly, and it's again from Michael Green. He talked about how he's adapted the Marshall's playing style and the opportunity to play against his brother. Now, you didn't know this. If you did, you've been paying attention. He's got a brother that's on the Old Dominion side, so he's looking forward to finally getting a chance to play against him.
Definitely a lot more comfortable. It definitely took me a little bit of time to get to that comfortable spot. I feel like our program and our defense is designed for players to play as fast and as comfortable as possible, and that's exactly what Marshall has done for me. And to touch the base with my brother, so definitely looking forward into playing him. We both been looking forward into that day, and we're just excited to just get out.
So Michael Green's excited. We got one more. We can get this one in real quick. Logan Osborne. He talks about how the fans should be excited for the air raid offense and how the air raid is the best thing for the offense.
Yeah, I think the fans should be excited. We're gonna sling it out there, as best as we can. For just being able to adapt, to be able to change, that's one of the biggest ways you can grow, not only as a person, as a player. So if you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, that's insanity. So we had to do a change. And I think it's going to be the best for our program, especially for our offense. It's not no secret that we've been struggling the past 2 years. And I think we're finally doing something about it. And fans should be excited.
Fans should be excited. The Thundering Herd participating in Sun Belt Conference Media Day. The West Division will be tomorrow. If there's anything interesting from the West side, we'll definitely talk about it tomorrow. Don't forget, if you missed any part of today's show, you can go back and get it. We've got it posted a little bit later on for you on our podcast page, and that's available on Apple Podcasts. You can also get that on Spotify. Just wherever you get your podcast, you can get the show. And, of course, if you want to listen to the show and you can't pick it up on the radio because maybe you're somewhere else and you'd like to listen to it, you want to get your daily fix, you want to listen to it live, get our app. We got the links to your particular store. If you got an iPhone or you got an Android, the links to the store are right there available on the front page of our website, WRVC.com. You can also stream the radio station there. So we got you covered however you want to listen to the radio station and the show. That's going to do it for this edition. For our producer, Ben Anderson, I'm Paul Swann. Back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Have a great night, everyone.
Retransmitting in glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.